Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. I'm your host, a Gen X dad who spends a lot of time thinking about the strange and sometimes hilarious gap between how we grew up and how our teens are growing up today. Speaking of today, I want to talk about something that sounds simple, but is actually one of the hardest life lessons we ever learn. That lesson is honesty and integrity. Not just telling the truth when it is easy, telling the truth when it is uncomfortable, when it is embarrassing, and when you know there might be consequences. If you're a parent listening, you probably already know something. Teaching honesty is not easy. We all want our kids to be truthful and honorable. At the same time, we have to admit something else. Most of us struggled with this when we were teenagers too. When I think back on my own teen years, I remember that honesty was not always my strongest trait. Sometimes I bent the truth. Sometimes I left details out. Sometimes I told myself that it was not really lying if it avoided trouble. A lot of that came down to immaturity. When you are young, you often focus on avoiding consequences rather than building character. This is one of those things that we have to understand as dads. Teenagers are still learning how to think long term. Their brains are still developing. In a moment of fear of getting in trouble, it can feel much bigger than the importance of being truthful. That does not excuse dishonesty, but it does explain why it happens. Integrity goes a step beyond honesty. Honesty is telling the truth. Integrity is living in a way where your actions match your values, even when nobody is watching. It is doing the right thing when there is no reward, and sometimes even when there is a cost. That is a tough lesson for anyone to learn. It was tough for us, and it is going to be tough for our teens. So how do we as dads actually teach this? The first and most obvious way is through example. Teenagers are incredibly good at spotting hypocrisy. If we tell our kids to always be honest, but then they hear us bending the truth on the phone or exaggerating things to other people, they notice that. They might not say anything, but they see it. If we want honest kids, we have to model honesty ourselves. That means admitting when we are wrong. It means apologizing when we mess up. It means showing them that integrity is not about being perfect. It's about being accountable. The second thing we can do is create an environment where honesty is safer than dishonesty. That does not mean that there are no consequences. It means we separate the mistake from the lie about the mistake. When a teen thinks that telling the truth will automatically make things worse, they are much more likely to hide things. But if they know that honesty will at least be respected, even when they messed up, they're more likely to come forward. Sometimes the conversation might go like this. You might say, "I am disappointed in what happened, but I appreciate that you told me the truth." That small statement reinforces something important. Truth matters. Another big piece of this is talking openly about the long-term value of integrity. In the moment, honesty might seem like it only brings trouble. But over time, honesty builds trust. And trust is one of those most valuable things that a person can have in life. Your reputation follows you everywhere. In friendships, in relationships, in school, and eventually in careers. People who are known for honesty and integrity become people others rely on. That kind of trust opens doors that talent alone sometimes cannot open. We can also share our own stories. Not just the stories where we did the right thing. Sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones where we did not. Tell them about the time you lied and it made things worse. Tell them about a moment where honesty saved a relationship or earned respect. Teens learn a lot when they realize that their parents were not perfect either. Finally, we have to remember that this lesson takes time. Integrity is not learned in a single conversation. It develops over years through mistakes, discussions, and examples. Our job as dads is not to expect perfection from our teens. Our job is to guide them as they slowly build the habits and character that will shape the adults they become. If we stay patient, stay consistent, and keep modeling the values we talk about, something interesting starts to happen. Over time, those lessons sink in. Maybe not right away, maybe not even while they're still teenagers, but eventually they stick. And one day, you might see your son or daughter make a difficult decision simply because it is the right thing to do. When that moment happens, you realize something important. All those conversations and lessons actually mattered. I want to thank you for listening to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. If you found this conversation helpful or relatable, consider sharing it with another parent who is also trying to figure out this wild adventure called raising teenagers. And until next time, keep showing up, keep leading by example, and keep building the kind of character that our kids can learn from.